Hey, yo.
Man, what's up with y'all, man? You know I've been gone for a little minute, but it's for good reason. So I'm gonna just jump straight into it. Today is February 7th. Today is February 7th, so I posted one vlog for January, and that was on purpose. I wasn't posting in January because I was on a fast called the First Fruits Fast. The significance behind it is basically giving your first month of the year to the Lord, so you just start out right. The fast this year was to stay away from a lot of distractions that would take me away from focusing on God, which involve things like social media, limiting video game time, you know what I mean? Just general distractions. I dedicated myself to starting a Bible in 1 year devotional plan, just generally building my habits in regard to God. So the whole month of January, from the 1st to the 31st, 31st, I wasn't on any social media. I wasn't doing anything that I felt like was a distraction. Now, most people associate a fast with some type of food. Like, you know, you're not supposed to eat, blah, blah. Purpose of a fast is to bring you closer to the Lord. It's to not only sacrifice something with your body, because not everybody can sacrifice food. You know, diabetics and, you know, in my position, I struggle with fasting from food during the season because I have, you know, long practices or games and stuff like that. So I literally can't afford not to eat all day, limit myself just to water or something like that. I fasted from things like that before, but in this situation right now, it's just not right for me. And I feel like it was more significant for me to go this route than any other, just because I know for a fact that this is something that was something that I've targeted as a distraction at times. So now during this fast time, I was really able to clear my head of a lot and actually receive a lot of instructions and change my perspective on a lot of things and build habits that I can move forward with day by day. I'm not gonna say it's a period of time, blah blah, because we don't know how many days we got left. So day by day, I've developed a group of habits and some enlightenment that I really appreciate. One of the biggest things that I'll take away from it was actually within, I would say, the last week of the fast, was dedicating my work to the Lord. And for me, that always meant, like, you know, just give God the glory for what you're doing. You know, understand why you're doing it and move on from there. But in the fast, I really understood it's deeper than that. I watched a sermon by a pastor for the church we go to in Atlanta called Victory, Pastor Dennis Smith, and his message was how to be productive and excel in your workplace. You know what I mean? So I was watching, and basically, long story short, it's more about, you know, honoring your bosses or your coaches, understanding that you honor them by giving your best, and you also are not working for them. You're working as unto God. You know, you're giving your gift or your energy and your effort to the Lord. Your thought is to approach your work as a servant. You know, be humble. Understand that not everything is about you. If you're a servant, if you're willing to serve, if you're willing to get your hands dirty and things like that, you'll be elevated. Just off the strength of somebody knows that your work ethic is pure. They know that you're not in it just for you. You know, a selfish person, it's tough to get along with a selfish person because you know at the end of the day they're going to look out for themselves. But someone who's willing to serve others before themselves, you're going to be promoted and excel just based off the fact that people are going to want to work with you. Another point he made, I'm not going to hit them all, just another real big point he made was the McDonald's versus Chick-fil-A mentality. To paraphrase, McDonald's, you know, when you go to McDonald's, it's more or less the person has you get the vibe like, you know, here's your food, you know, you lucky I'm even here to serve you in the first place, here, take it. You know what I mean? You ask for extra sauce, that's 49 cents, you know, whatever. You go to Chick-fil-A, there be people standing outside in the rain with umbrellas just trying to take your order just to move the line along. There's nothing wrong with the thing that takes the order in the first place, but there's a person out there with an iPad taking your order because they want to do the best they can to move the line along. You know, you get inside, you order your food, you sit down, they give you a thing, they ask you what sauce you want, they get a handful of your sauce, put it in there. Before your drink is even hit the bottom, hey, you want some more to drink? What can I do to make it better? So your mentality needs to be more like that Chick-fil-A mentality. In my profession, how can I make the team better? What can I do to help us win? You know, what can I do to help propel our momentum forward? God gave you these gifts, God gave you the passions and the loves and the things you have inside, so why not rededicate them to Him? Why every day you go to work, that's your first ministry. That's another point you made. That's your first ministry. Where you spend most of your time is your ministry. So most people spend most of their time at work. That's where you are going to be most influential because you're around this group of people the most. Before I go to practice, before I start a game, whatever, I always prayed anyway, but now I changed my mind in my prayer to say more or less, I dedicate today's work to you. Whether it's good, bad, or ugly, whether I don't feel like doing it, whatever, I dedicate it to you. I'm gonna do it as if you're sitting in the stands watching me, because I understand that you gave this to me for your glory in the first place. And that segues right into another major decision I made was, my dad's a pastor. I always knew that one day I was gonna transition to that direction. You know, I always imagined I was gonna be 35, 40, 50, whatever. But really over this last month, I realized my platform, as far as being able to go across the world, and today with the internet and things like that, you got to take it more serious. You got to be more honed into your. Once you know what your calling is, you have to hone those skills, and that's something I started taking serious too. Was honing my ministerial skills. In my dad's ministry, he's transitioning me into a ministerial position, and that doesn't mean I'm going to be preaching sermons and doing all that other stuff, but more or less, I'm now focused on not only becoming a better person, but understand the depths of, you know, the Bible, how things affect the world that I live in, and how can I continue to propel myself higher spiritually. You know what I mean? And it may seem deep, and some people aren't really going to understand. Like, you're 24, why are you making this choice now? Blah blah. End of the day, like, you know, like I said, we don't know when our last day is, you know, especially in our generation. People are dying left and right for no reason. You know, I've experienced it. I had two dudes on my college basketball team pass away. You never know. Age doesn't mean anything, you know, so I chose to take it serious and make that transition now, because I understand that this is what I'm called to do, period. That doesn't mean I'm gonna walk a perfect walk. You know, before anybody is quick to point fingers and say, well, Devon, you used to blah, 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 and I just talked to you and you was, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to be perfect. But the goal is to make gradual progression throughout time. Life is a marathon, not a sprint. You're continually getting better. You're never going to be Kobe Bryant in 2 days. You're never going to be Usain Bolt in track in a week. You know, it's a gradual progression throughout time. As long as I know in my heart of hearts that I'm doing everything I can to become a better version of myself, doing everything I can to grow closer to God and become a better father, husband, then I'm okay with that. And whether people understand my decisions and choices throughout my life, it doesn't really affect me anymore. You know, the bigger picture is what's most important. Basketball is taken from me today, and it has been taken from me before. But if it's taken from me permanently today, what am I going to do? That's the biggest question that any athlete, I propose that question to anybody. If you are a person who puts your whole in, like, say, your job, you know, we're always taught, work your way up the corporate ladder, chase the bag, do this, do that. If that's taken from you today, what are you gonna do? Who are you? Your spirit, your soul, you know, where do you stand? So that's that. I know it's a mouthful and that was a lot. It's February 7th, my son's birthday was February 2nd. You know, I have a 5-year-old son now, bro, it's crazy. Lil Devon he's so much like me, it irritates me, honestly. Anybody that knows me and knows my family knows that Devon can get on my nerves, but it's because he acts just like me. You know, he's literally my son, you know what I mean? And I'm thankful to that, because when I was coming up, I would watch my dad and want to mimic his moves. As far as, I wanted to be like my dad so much. I used to think how he writes, his handwriting is super cool. So I would look at how he writes and try to write the same way, you know what I mean? And some people may think it's corny, whatever, but that's how I was. I just loved my dad like that. You know what I mean? He was a superhero to me. So to see Devon taking on some of those same traits is humbling, and it's major because I have to be aware of the type of person I am. And it's tough because the type of person I am, at times, I'm very demonstrative. My emotions are, I'm not always the best at hiding my emotions. I have a loud voice, so if I say something with a little extra authority, it comes out big and loud, and I don't like that all the time. I don't want him to feel like I'm always harping on him. But at the same time, I understand that a son needs a father that's an authority figure, and he understands, like, okay, this is a person who loves me, cares for me, and is not doing this to harm me, or not saying this to harm me. Is to make me a better person at the end of the day. So all of those feelings and thoughts came to a collision on February 2nd when I realized my son is 5 years old. We had a party at my apartment for him, and my team came, and we had food and cake and everything, but I was actually vlogging, and I stopped. I couldn't hold the camera and move around and keep everybody happy because, you know, I had to keep going to get the door. I had to, Kiana had to go get some more food. She was leaving the baby with me, so I had to make sure the baby was okay. There was mad people in here. There was probably like 20 plus people in my apartment, so I didn't want, you know, as a host, you gotta make sure your guests are cool. I'm running around doing stuff for them. I'll make sure the baby's straight. So I didn't really, it was just a lot going on. I didn't really have a time to hold the camera. He had a great time, you know, shout out to everybody who sent him money, a gift, whatever. He loved everything he got as far as, you know, grandparents, his godmom, everybody who looked out for him. It's his second birthday he's had in another country. His first birthday, or not his first birthday, but the first country he was in on, I want to say his third birthday was Canada. I think it was his third birthday. Now, coming next month, my daughter turns 1. Like, bruh. It's not even that I feel older, it's just the fact that, like, bruh, I'm gonna have a 1-year-old daughter. If somebody was to tell me, you know, 2 years ago, like, bro, you're gonna have a daughter, I would've been like, man, look, I think I'm gonna have 2 sons. You know, that's just what I thought. I thought I was like, the type of guy I am, God's not gonna give me no daughter. And lo and behold, it's funny because we went to church and we got prophesied to. When I say we, I mean our family, me, Kiana, and little Devon. That I was gonna. The pastor was like, you know, I see you standing here with your family, your wife, your son, and a little girl holding your hand. And sure enough, little Princess Aria, she in there knocked out right now. It's wild to think that I'm gonna have a 1-year-old daughter, man. This go around is a lot easier than the first time. Not only because I'm more experienced, but I'm older. You know, I'm more mature. I understand how to handle the pressures of being a parent, along with trying to live my life. Just move differently. I move differently as a 24-year-old going on a 25-year-old than a 20-year-old going on 21. It's just a whole different mentality. So I'm just extremely thankful my family's even at this point, man, where I have a opportunity to not raise 1 but 2 amazing children. So another quick update on the basketball side. So right now we're currently 7-6. Our season is going a lot better than it has been. We were on a road trip last week, 3 games in 5 days. We won 2 out of the 3, and the one we lost, we pretty much should have won, but you know that's how the game goes sometimes. I said we're 7-6. I'm playing extremely well. I wouldn't say extremely well. I would say I'm playing well, and everything turned as far as play when I got in the mental space of dedicating my work back to God. It's no coincidence. That's the way it goes. You know, you start involving God in what you do. He puts his hand on it, and things go the way it's supposed to go. My cousin told me years ago, he was like, he was having a horrible game at halftime. And this guy's a scorer, so he was telling me, like, you know, at halftime I had like 2 points. I was playing really bad, and I prayed, like, God help me, you know, persevere through this game. And he said right then and there, God asked him, like, if I don't help you, would I be any worse of a God? If I don't do what you're asking me to do right now on a superficial side, you know, if I don't come down from heaven and help you play better in this game, am I any worse of a God than I was before the game? And that's one of the realest stories I've ever heard as an athlete, because as athletes, we want to do our best at all times. And when you incorporate God into your whole life, including your job in athletics or, you know, college or high school or whatever, you pray. Having that mentality and saying, like, you know what, whether this game goes good, whether I play well, whether I play horrible, whether I don't play at all, whatever, it's all for your glory. That mentality has helped me through some games, because at halftime, at least the last 3 games, at some point in the last 3 or 4 games, I've only had like maybe 6 points, 2 points, whatever. And I've ended with, you know, 19, 18, 23, whatever. And I had to make sure I out there because it was so much in my mind I wanted to do for next coming vlogs, you know, with so many different events coming up. I wanted to make sure I got this out there first because this was the most important thing to me. I wanted to start my next phase of vlogs with this. Just wanted to be known mentally and spiritually where I was, or where I am. Moving forward, we have a game on Sunday. I'm planning on doing something so y'all, you know what I'm saying, you know what I mean? Hey Devon, my man lost his first tooth. You know what I mean? 5 years old, lost his first tooth. His two top teeth got taken out because you hit it on something and it messed it. He was saying it was hurting and the doctor was like, well, we could just take it out and this new one will grow back. So that's the first one he officially lost on some like, you know, fell out type stuff. You wanna say peace? Huh? You wanna say peace? From now on, since New Year, new outro, we're gonna say peace and love. Cause that's what we care about. Everybody being at peace and we spreading the love. So tell them peace and love.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.